Hi, everyone. Today I'll introduce a new node called For Each. Find For Each in the Flow category and create it. Now let's look at its parameters. The first parameter selects the subflow that For Each will call. The second parameter specifies the array source. For Each calls the selected subflow once for every item in that array. If the array contains 2 items, it calls the subflow twice. If it contains 3 items, it calls it 3 times. If you have programmed before, it works like a typical for each loop in code. We do not have the required subflow yet, so let's create one first. The goal is to enter 3 lines of text automatically in the text field. The 3 lines will be LaiCai, screen, and mirroring. We want the profile to perform this entire action for us. Create a subflow and name it input text. For each, we'll call this input text subflow, so configure it now. Select input text as the flow to call, then click Save. Next, open the input text subflow and inspect Configure Inputs. Its system inputs are assigned automatically by LaiCai Flow. When a subflow is called by For Each, the system always provides 3 parameters. Item is the current array item, index is that item's position, and length is the total array length. Save it. Then return to For Each. Its input configuration also reflects the system-provided values we just saw. Now let's build the input text subflow. First, add an input text node to enter each line. After entering a line, we also need to press Enter, so add computer keyboard input. Set its key parameter to Enter. Input text should receive the item parameter from the subflow's entry node. Use pick field to retrieve the item value and pass it to input text. Select entry as the source, enter item as the field, and connect the nodes. Now inspect the input text parameters. Smart Connect automatically matched input source to from node. The selected node is pick field, and the data being used is its value output. Rename the pick field node to get item so the flow is easier to read. Rename the input text node to input item. The subflow is now complete. Let's test it separately. Select input text, switch to debug, and start a run. Because the system provides 3 parameters, enter temporary values to simulate a for each call. Set index to 0, item to LaiCai, and length to 1. Run it. The app's text field on the left shows that the subflow executed correctly. It entered LaiCai, pressed enter, and moved the cursor to a new line. Now, return to the main flow. The first step is to add an entry parameter named words. This lets us provide a different array every time we run the profile. Create the words input, set its type to array, and save it. Add another pick field node and rename it getWords. Use it to retrieve words from the entry input object. Then, pass that array to for each. Because the nodes are connected, the system fills array source with getWords automatically. The selected output from getWords is value. Save the configuration. Now switch to step mode and clear the text field on the left. Run the profile. It asks us to provide the required array parameter. Enter an array containing LaiCai, screen, and mirroring, then click Run. Inspect the latest entry output. It is an object containing words. The value of words is the array we just entered. Next, get words extracts that array from the entry input object. Its value output now contains the 3-item array: LaiCai, screen, and mirroring. The next node is For Each. Execute the next step. For Each immediately enters the input text subflow. It passes the first array item into that subflow. Inspect the entry node's latest input. Its 3 parameters are index 0, item LaiCai, and length 3. Next, getItem retrieves the current item, which is LaiCai. Its value output confirms that the value was retrieved correctly. Pass that value to input item. The app on the left now contains LaiCai in the text field. The next node presses Enter and starts a new line. The first item is complete, so For Each starts the second item. It calls the input text subflow for the second time. The latest entry input has changed to index 1, item screen, and length 3. GetItem passes screen to input item, and the app enters screen on the second line. It presses Enter again, and continues to the third item. The third call enters mirroring on the next line and presses Enter. After that, execution returns to the main flow. For Each has finished all 3 calls because the source array contains 3 items. Its task ends, the entire profile finishes, and the canvas returns to main. This profile can also be used across multiple devices. Because it has an entry input, each run can receive its own values. Here, the node's tutorial profile has already been assigned to the device. When we run it, the system asks us to provide the required words parameter. Enter an array containing 1, 2, and 3. The app then enters those 3 values. With 2 or 3 devices, each device can receive different parameters and execute different content. You can also use API request from the network category. An API can provide more items, more data, and dynamically changing data for this automation. For each can then process that data as part of the automated workflow. That completes today's introduction to For Each. The key point is what happens when a subflow is connected to For Each. LaiCai Flow automatically assigns the fixed system inputs that For Each requires. You do not need to add those inputs again, although you can still add custom inputs for other needs. That is an important detail to remember. That's all for today. Thanks, everyone.